Alright, so today's video, if it stays in focus, I'm trying to get my knee out of the way here, is on my Brno RV85. It's sold as a flare launcher in Canada and the United States. It's made in the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia I guess at the time. It is, obviously as you can see, pretty well made. And I guess it's typical CZ build here. I could see a lot of different things in it that resemble my ZH301, including the safety that you see here, and my VZ58 or CZ858 if you would rather call it that. Same grip on it. This one here is actually a little bit longer. It's more comfortable. I'm not going to switch it over because, well, I like it on this one obviously. The gun's well made. Gun, I guess launcher I should be calling it from now on. And it's a 26.5mm. Although it is listed as a flare launcher in Canada and the States, and it does obviously launch any of the 26.5mm flares, its original design was for police and military, and it fired a special 26.5mm tear gas round that was designed to penetrate barriers, it would call it. It was designed for one of the police forces, one of the, I guess, anti-terrorist police forces that they have there. I cannot pronounce the actual name for it, so I apologize if anyone wanted me to give the name for it there, but I'm not going to do it. I'll just butcher it completely. As I said, the purpose of this rifle was to the purpose of this launcher was to be able to fire a tear gas, I guess you'd call it a grenade of sorts, into, I guess you'd say, partially fortified positions. So technically through an aircraft skin, through plywood, and gas out the people behind it. According to documentation, it's supposed to be able to put the round through a 1-inch piece of plywood, or approximately 25mm piece of plywood at 100 meters consistently. At 50 meters it's supposed to be 30mm, I think. Anyways, there isn't much information out about these, at least available in English speaking countries. I'm sure there's more known in the actual country of origin, but even then I haven't been able to find much information about it online. I've tried to translate the best I could some of the stuff I've seen with Google Translate, but still some of it doesn't make sense. So I've been piecing it together. As I said, very nice. What separates it from a lot of other launchers, like you would see your 40mm and your 37mm, is that there's no real chamber on it. It's a tube. If you would get a shotgun, for example, you would have the chamber, then a forcing cone, and the barrel. Obviously all in the barrel, but in this you've got, I'll try to show you here. I'll take it apart while I'm at it. You got basically a straight pipe, and it's chromed because the rounds, all the rounds for this were basically all black powder, and that's pretty corrosive stuff if you don't have a chance to clean it. As the model number says, they were designed in 1985, and I think it was between 88 and 90 some odd that they were considered as a weapon for the teams that used it. or I guess not a weapon, but gear, proper gear for the team that used it. I'm assuming now they just went over to the 40 millimeters and they use that instead, but don't quote me on that because I really don't know. I said there's not much information on it. The nice thing about these is they do fire all these standard flares, so you could buy one. You got a high quality launcher with thick tubing on it, so it could actually take much stronger rounds, because I said that round that it was made for is 195 grams fired at 325 feet per second, and as I said, it's designed to 100 meters, and it can make it technically to 700 meters. So it needed to be able to take pressures that were much higher than regular flare pistols and flare guns. This also means that they had to put a couple of different design features in, and one of them is that the rim cutout in this barrel is a lot deeper than the standard flares, and the rim on the special cartridge that this thing fired was sectioned in a way so that it made it thicker, even though it was built off the original regular flare cartridges, so it couldn't be chambered in a standard flare pistol. That way you don't blow yourself up trying to pull the trigger on it. It also means that when you're firing flares out of this, your best bet is to find an elastic band or something, put it around the flare. A lot of people use a 1-inch O-ring to put around the rim. That way it gives it the proper head spacing, so you don't get any light strikes. And it also protects your firing pin somewhat, because the firing pin isn't bottoming out on the gun itself. It's actually hitting the primer. So that's basically how that goes. And as I said, typical Czech construction on it, very well made, and it's actually a beautiful gun, or a beautiful launcher. Nice wood on it. The packages usually comes with, if it's not a second-hand gun, is you get the scabbard, I guess, for the gun case, the launcher itself, spare springs, spare firing pin, and I think that's it for the spares. Cleaning kit, a couple screwdrivers for taking it apart, and the manuals and logbooks and stuff for the gun or the launcher. I said this is basically an introduction to this gun. My next video, I'll be taking it apart and showing you just how simple it is, just a field strip if you have to clean it off, and I'll show you how the thing works. In another video, I'll show you the different kind of ammo you could fire out of it, and we'll go from there. So hopefully you enjoyed this basic video, and I'm sure there's some questions I didn't answer in this video. They should be answered in my next video, much of the questions, and look for it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to get these videos out on a semi-regular basis. So thanks again.